here tonight.
Oh yeah, the giant bugs are totally here tonight.
And the little ones.
90 seconds to air.
What?
Oh,
So you're going to have about 1 minute to move over to Charles' set.
Charles, I forgot my bolo. In the rush, I forgot it back at Echo. There might be one more day of Jamboree program left, but that's not stopping us from having a great time. We have an action-packed episode of Jamboree Tonight ready for you.
Tonight you can watch Forrest and I run, jump, and crawl our way through the Spartan Force.
Plus, we'll meet the volunteers who make sure you get your fill of shelf-stable lunches.
And we'll chat with the BSA's top volunteer, National Commissioner Charles Dahlquist.
Do you think we'll play the banjo?
Who knows?
Don't go to bed yet. Jamboree Tonight starts right now.
Welcome to the next to last episode of Jamboree Tonight, live from the summit in wild and wonderful West Virginia. I'm your National Venturing President, Michelle Merritt.
And I'm your National Order of the Arrow Chief, Forrest Gertin. We're only 1 day away from the end of the Jamboree. While our Scoutmasters may be eagerly anticipating real mattresses, warm showers, and maybe even getting back to work, if you're like me, you're wishing we had another week of Jamboree adventures ahead of us.
Well, maybe not a week.
Okay, maybe a couple of days?
Maybe a day.
Only a day?
Don't push it.
Okay, maybe 10 days of Jamboree adventure is enough for this year. I bet we're all looking forward to sleeping in our own beds, playing with our pets, and reconnecting with family and friends. But you have to admit, this was a pretty great Jamboree.
It totally was. But before we load our tired, dusty selves and our dirty laundry back onto those spacious air charter buses and close the books on the 2017 National Jamboree, we have one more chance to make memories that will last a lifetime. One more day.
1 day more, another day, another destiny.
I'm definitely not singing with you. The Muppets was enough.
Okay.
Instead of a Broadway performance, tonight you're going to see theatrics of a different kind. We'll talk with the National Commissioner of the Boy Scouts of America, Charles Dahlquist, and the #1 rated scouting blogger, according to scoutingblogreviews.com, Brian Wendell, better known as Brian on Scouting.
After we've interviewed Mr. On Scouting, we'll check out the fishing programs, learn what the ServMart staff does to keep the Jamboree running, and see your favorite Jamboree patches.
All that, plus a reminder to hydrate, snarky comments about lunches, at least one reference to clear and copious, and we'll reveal which major telecommunications company has secretly been powering our awesome Jamboree app.
Let's get on with the show. Tonight, we're joined by National Commissioner Charles Dahlquist, a volunteer from Utah with a wealth of experiences, ranging from serving from Scoutmaster to Council President. Charles, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Forrest. Nice to be here.
What's been your favorite part of the 2017 National Jamboree?
I think my favorite part is just being with scouts like you and Michelle all over. I've walked the Jamboree day after day. I've given patches out. I've watched the scouts in some unbelievable ways apply the Scout Oath and Law at the Jamboree, and that's my favorite part. I also like being with their leaders. I spend an awful lot of time as National Commissioner being with their leaders, and almost every weekend I'm someplace in the country with leaders, and I love to just rub shoulders with these devoted leaders that have such a profound impact on the rising generation.
That's awesome. I think I remember talking, you said you were a Cub Scout, Boy Scout, and an Explorer, right?
Correct.
Did you ever think when you were one of those that you'd land the position you've got right now?
Not in 100 million years. But you know, it's really interesting for us that none of us realize what's going to happen in 5 or 10 or 20 or 50 years. But the way that we prepare for those things is by doing our duty one step at a time. It's really interesting, but change in our lives occurs in the scouting program, one merit badge at a time, one rank at a time, one camp out at a time, one good turn at a time. All of those things that are important, and by preparing us, we become over time prepared to walk through some amazing opportunities and some doors that we never thought would open. So,
is there one of those mini milestones that you can point to as a key learning experience for yourself in your scouting adventure?
You know, I think some may have great big emotional experiences or something that profoundly impacted their lives. I've had heroes along the way, and heroes such as Bob Haverfield, who was my scoutmaster in Weiser, Idaho, and Von Featherstone, who is one of my greatest heroes, and who was a member of the National Executive Board, and others that I've had along the way. And I think if there's anything that has helped me, it's those heroes, so that when I have a decision to make, I can say, I wonder what that individual would have done. And you know, included in that is my mother and my father. I had great parents and who taught me well and who supported me and gave me every opportunity I had. So, and the interesting thing is they gave me opportunities to do a variety of things, and which has really been fun. You know, it's not just doing one thing well, but it's being able to do a lot of different things. You know, I don't play tennis like a pro, but I can hold my own, and the same thing with hunting or fishing or anything else, and or music, and so it's a great life.
Speaking of music, we've heard you play the banjo.
Right.
Why the banjo? Why not electric guitar or keyboard or keytar even?
Well, that's a very simple answer, and that is I already knew how to play the piano. I played the trumpet all the way through school, and still play the trumpet. But during the 60s when I grew up, I had a good friend, and he had was just putting together a folk band, and it was the time of the Kingston Trio and the Limelighters and the Brothers Four and the Chad Mitchell Trio, and it was a time of dissension, and the dissension came out through the folk music, and it was a wonderful time for music. And my friend Denny Despain came to me one day and he said, Charlie, I really need a banjo player. He knew that I sang and knew that I was musical, and so he said, I really need a banjo player. So I went to my dad and I said, Dad, I need to buy a banjo and learn how to play it. And I said, can you help me buy it? And he says, well, I'll tell you what, you earn half of it, and then I'll give you this shotgun with a split butt on it, and you can take it down to the pawn shop and see what you can do. So I did. I took that shotgun down and traded it for a K banjo, and then I filed it down to make it a little better quality, and I played it for a lot of years. And now I've got a Vega that is much like those that the Kingston Trio used. But
awesome.
It's been a great. I sang in groups all the way through high school and college.
Sounds like some hard work got you to where you are
You
now,
know,
the expert banjo player.
I just have to tell you that every teenager goes through a time when he or she thinks the world is against them. Everybody thinks that. You may not think that, but I did. I had days like that, and I'd go down into my room, and all I had to do is close the door, pick up my banjo, and all of a sudden the world was a friendlier place.
Well, hopefully scouting can provide that for some of our youth. Thanks for being with us,
Thank you
Charles.
very much,
Really
Forrest.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll be back with more Jamboree Tonight after this.
There's something at the Jamboree that may actually be more valuable than money itself.
It's a hobby that turns summit roads into something like a flea market or bazaar.
And that hobby is patch trading.
Our team asked you what your favorite Jamboree patch is. Let's see what you said your favorite was.
My favorite patch set is the Doctor Who set.
I gotta say, I love the Popeye patch set here at the Jamboree.
Alright, I personally like away patches, like away sets.
The Motor City one. I've been trying for 4 or 5 days to get it.
Hosted the Jamboree. It's the Buckskin Council one.
I'm personally a fan of the Atlanta set.
My favorite patch set is the Chickasaw Council's patch set.
Monty Python set from the Denver Area Council.
I really like the council patches, just because now I know where people are from.
My favorite set would have to be the Dan Beard set, which is Magic the Gathering.
The Cascade Pacific set, also known by some as the Halo set, or sets rather.
My favorite patch set of Jamboree would have to be the Doctor Who series.
Three Harbors Council patch. It's the Harley Davidson motor set.
Either the Stargate patch sets or the TARDIS.
The Monty Python set, because I just love that movie.
My favorite patch is the Duck Butter patch.
My favorite patch set was probably the Kool-Aid Man, just because I drink a lot of Kool-Aid.
My favorite set has to be Dan Beard.
Connecticut Rivers Naval Council.
One of my personal favorite patch sets would be the Doctor Who set.
Probably the CSPs from our council Buckskin.
Dan Beard Council, it's Magic Dragon set.
My favorite patch set is the Indian headdress one.
I really like the Washington Cross and the Delaware set. That's Sesame Street themed.
The Monty Python set from the Greater Denver Council.
I really like the Transformers one.
To the Pikes Peak Council, the Stargate set.
To be the New Jersey Devil Sasquatch set.
The original 6 because I'm big into hockey.
Favorite set was the Monty Python and the Holy Grail set.
Wounded Warrior Project one out of the New Jersey Council.
The Dan Beard set, and it's my favorite because it has a lot of dragons in it.
Last night's show, you may have seen Michelle and I challenge each other to a friendly run through the Spartan course on Garden Ground Mountain.
It left us tired, sweaty, and dirty. And now I'm not the only Jamboree Tonight host who's injured themselves this week.
Hey, I have no idea what she's talking about.
All right, sure, Mr. Two Left Feet.
Anyways, let's see how the two of us did.
Days down and one to go. We're coming up fast on the final day of Jamboree program. If there's anything you haven't gotten to yet, tomorrow's the day. Sprint to the top of Garden Ground. Get your hands on that last patch set. Swing by Freedom Field.
Unless you've been hoarding your aerial tokens. Good luck if you've been saving those all for the last day. We told you not to do that.
Tomorrow's forecast calls for a little rain. We haven't seen much of that over the past week and a half. No matter how wet you get tomorrow, though, remember, proper hydration remains essential. Keep knocking back those nalgies.
I'm glad to hear you say that. All this time, I thought you were hydrating exclusively from your toothpick holders. Tomorrow's also the closing stadium show. Along with our Wi-Fi, the stadium is powered by AT&T. It starts at 7:30 p.m., so plan on being through the metal detectors by 2 p.m.
Of course, that won't be the case for tomorrow's show, although reports say there are a special guest. We can only hope that this musical act is as popular on social media as the last famous person to grace the stage at Jamboree.
Tomorrow's also the last real chance you have to use the official Jamboree app, powered by AT&T. But don't worry, the Summit Operations Center will still send you weather notifications long after you return home.
The other practical bit of news for tomorrow, start getting ready to pack up. Our Summit staff is left on site after we depart, and they will be charged with sweeping through the sites and getting them in tip-top shape. Be a courteous scout and try to start cleaning up those shower heads, shower houses, and the trash around your site.
I've been doing my part for sure. I called the OA Service Corps to clean my tent earlier today, and they did a great job.
That's it for tonight's news. Let's have a great final day of the 2017 National Jamboree tomorrow, and tune in for the one last Jamboree tonight.
We'll be back right after this. Record-setting grass carp to sunfish, to catfish and bluegills, there is a fish jamboree in the lakes of the summit, and they are waiting for you to catch them. If you try, you may even break a record or two, or improve your angling with a master fisherman. Let's hear from the big fisherman.
Hey, first fish, my experience started in Estes Park, Colorado, and I was a fly fisherman up there catching trout. And that's how I got started. Scouts has led me into many, many more ventures. So between scouting and between fishing, I put it all together for the joy of my life, which is just to have kids fish. These programs, both the Merritt Badge programs or our first time fishing, are always exciting.
This is a channel catfish. I caught it on a worm on a hand spool. So I hand spooled and hand reeled them in.
At this Jamboree, as I say, we have a world record caught. World record on a specific fish, which is a grass carp, and on a rod like we're using right here behind me is called a fixed rod. It does not have a reel. That line is 12 feet long, and it's caught on a 6-pound test line and a little bitty hook. And we caught a 22-pound grass carp. That is a world record for that fish. You pictures about this long, and that young man was one of the first fish that he'd ever caught. It was held previously by one of our staff members, and he was a youth when he got it.
Well, I am Caden, and I am from Anchorage, Alaska.
Well, I've had a lot of trouble catching fish over the years, and people kept on telling me there's a lot of fish. And I thought that would be cool if I could catch some, and I've been catching quite a bit. So and it's really fun. It's relaxing. Other kids should come to the fishing dock by Sea Camp because there's a lot of fish and there's many different styles of fishing poles you can use. And almost everybody here at least catches 1 or 2 fish. So if you really want to catch some, come here. There's bluegills, trout, some catfish and stripes and sunfish. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
You are definitely a fisherman.
Why don't you get in there with them?
All right. Now there was a catch. It's catch and release. You got to kiss him goodbye. Wait a second. There you go.
Wow. 22 pounds? That's a big fish in not such a small pond. Speaking of big fish, let's go over to Michelle, who's with our second special guest.
Thanks, Forrest. Our second guest is a familiar name to most people in the scouting world. It's none other than Mr. On Scouting himself, Brian Wendell. Hi.
Hello. How's it going? On Scouting, yes.
So how did this whole Brian on Scouting come about?
Well, I started working for Scouting Magazine in 2007, I guess it was. Is that right? I don't know. And so I started a blog in 2009 because at the time there wasn't as much work to do. So I did the thing you're never supposed to do. I asked my boss for more work. So we get tons of great stories about scouts doing cool things across the country, but there's not always enough space in Scouting Magazine for them. And so I said I could make a blog, and he was like, "What's a blog?" And I was like, explained it to him, and then it was called Cracker Barrel at the time. But a lot of people don't know what that's like. Cracker Barrel also has a scouting definition, like people eating crackers after scouting. But anyway, so after convincing people that it wasn't just a blog about the restaurant and getting comments from people saying bring back the chicken and dumplings or something like that, I was like, let's do something else. And so a different boss now in 2011 said you should personalize it, and so that's how Brian on Scouting came about. And now here we're in 2017, and it's gone from 10 followers a month, all with the last name Wendell, and now it's about 500,000 followers, or page views, I guess, a month. So it's been pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you've obviously interviewed and talked to a lot of famous people and scouts. What has been the coolest interview that you've done?
Well, I'll tell you the least cool first. That's Forrest Gertin. He's National OA Chief. No, I'm kidding. Forrest and I have gone on some scouting adventures together, so that's been great. But no, it's got to be Robert Gates, Defense Secretary. That was, Distinguished Eagle Scout. Dr. Robert M. Gates, of course, if he's watching. Hi. But so I got to go up to his house in north of Seattle, and he had this joke, he moved to the place in the U.S. farthest from Washington, D.C., because he pretty much, was done with Congress at that point. So I got to go to his house and check out his study and everything. That was really cool. And he's got just books everywhere. And so he inspired me to, read more, because all these biographies, he's obsessed with biographies. And the whole study is just lined with shelves and shelves of biographies, all alphabetized, which says something probably about his personality, right? So it's Abigail Adams all the way to whoever has a last name starts with a Z. And then, but it's cool, he has Tina Fey in there too, so it's not all just, dull people from history. So he is just a voracious reader. And then the last thing I'll say about him is that he told me he alternates between fiction and nonfiction books, which is something that I've tried to do now, because I always just find myself reading fiction books because it's, easier and just kind of escapist, So he told me, that he did that, and so now I've done that too. So it's, kind of just one short day in my life, but or in his life, but for me it was a huge deal. So that's the highlight for sure.
So since you are so popular in the scouting world, when you go to events, are you mobbed by kids? Are you basically the Taylor Swift of scouting? How does that work?
Yeah, the singing quality is at least as high, but no,
you could sing for us.
No, this is live, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that occasionally, but it always kind of makes me uncomfortable, really. And I'm not just saying that. It's I'm not as into it. But in 2013, there was a scout who was walking around with a sign that said, "Where's Brian on Scouting?" So I like stopped him, and I almost didn't. I actually walked past him because I was like, no, this is, I'm just, it's kind of embarrassing. But, and so I went back, and super nice young man. And then I later got an email from his dad saying that, I like made his day. So that part was cool. But really, like the celebrity thing, and this is going to sound super cheesy, but I really think like the volunteers are more the celebrities, but they don't get any credit. And, Forrest just talked to Charles Dahlquist, celebrity, right? Scouting celebrity. Mike Serbaugh, like my boss's 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 boss, definite celebrity. So, I try to like get rid of that label just because the only reason I even had that label is because I like made a website that has my name on the top of it. So it's kind of, I'm not as into that, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
All right, thanks for taking the time to come chat, Mr. On Scouting.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll be seeing you around. We have more Jamboree Tonight right after this break.
Thanks.
Get ready to unlock a new world by joining us for 12 days of peace, friendship, and adventure at the 24th World Scout Jamboree. The 3 host nations, Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America, welcome the World Scouting community to the Summit Bechtel Reserve, a world-class, sustainable adventure facility located in the heart of southern West Virginia in the United States. The World Scout Jamboree brings our different nationalities together in one place, united in the scouting movement for one unforgettable experience. It's an experience that captures the 5 core principles of adventure, friendship, leadership, service, and sustainability. What makes this World Scout Jamboree so special? It's an experience like none other, with wild and wonderful adventures like rock climbing, mountain biking, skateboarding, zip lining, whitewater rafting, and more. But adventure is just one part of the Jamboree. You'll also experience programs emphasizing leadership and cultural understanding. In addition to international venues like food houses, the Global Development Village, World Scout Center, and Faith and Beliefs. So make your plans now to visit North America in the summer of 2019 and unlock a new world at the 24th World Scout Jamboree. For more details and to register, visit our website at 2019wsj.org.
His name is Dick the Lunch Man, and his job is to feed the masses.
Dick works in the Serve Mart at the local camp grocery store. He tells us what it's like to shop in the Serve Mart.
This is tortellini with cheese.
My name's Dick Tennant, and I am the chief of the Base Camp Charlie grocery store. And our object is to get food out to the troops.
Here there's a lot of box food here, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. At home, there's a lot more home-cooked meals, but it's kind of like a mini version of a grocery store that's far more convenient and a lot closer.
My name is Josh Sharks. I am from Denver, Colorado, and my favorite part about the commissary is that it looks like a really, really small Costco.
They pick up an item, and they have an app in their phone that allows them to enter in what they bought and how many points they have used. So at any time, they know what their balance is, balance left, that they have yet to spend during this period. We do have a problem at times. We'll run out of something. It's just like any grocery store. They don't have everything you want every day.
So I'm Trenton Graff. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and what I like most about the commissary is the options we have and the shade.
Not quite two for everyone.
We've never run out of pie or cake.
It's just like being an adult.
Don't spend it all on those shelf-stable sandwiches.
That'll do it for us tonight. We'll leave you with some pictures from social media. Don't forget to use the hashtag 2017Jambo when you post on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You might see your pictures right here on Jamboree Tonight.
On behalf of the entire Jamboree Tonight team, thanks for staying up with us. We'll see you back here tomorrow night for our last episode.